He gave me 90 pesetas. Good. Then she smiled. That's a lot. Encarni grinned with satisfaction. She was proud of her negotiating skills, but she thought it more elegant to accept the compliment without comment, to downplay it, so she changed the subject. Do you know what? Up in Tibidabo, they found a dead woman. Was Señora Beatriz still listening to her? There was no way of knowing. If she was thinking about the dusty papers and the yellow cards she had in the desk, there was no point telling her anything. It would be like talking to a wall or a hat stand. But she lifted her head. It seemed she wanted to know more. Encarni continued. A rich widow. Horrible thing. The chicken guy told me that it was real butchery. Everything covered in blood. How awful. She turned to put the half-pound of butter she'd bought into the fridge. Before putting it away, she took it out of its paper, sniffed it to make sure it wasn't rancid, and placed the stick on a porcelain butter dish. The maid found her. Poor thing. She had a day off, came back, and there was the widow, stiff as a board. Thank goodness I'm not in her shoes. Yes, what luck. Especially for me. Señora Beatriz sounded amused. She was still wearing her dressing gown. Her blonde hair was wrapped in a turban, a damp lock escaping on one side. Another night that she had stayed up into the wee hours with her books. Encarni smiled. Forgive me, Professor Ma'am, but imagine, Fermín the fishmonger said the poor girl almost died of a heart attack. Encarni paused for dramatic effect. But the worst thing is the eye. The missus leaned forward and shook some ash from her sleeve. Encarni sighed. She was going to make another hole in her dressing gown. She didn't seem to care much, though it must have cost a bob or two. She had to have bought it before the war. You couldn't find those designs these days. If she wanted to, the missus could be very elegant. But no. In the end, she just put on whatever she pulled out of her huge wardrobes. There was even a cassock in one of them. It was my Uncle Lázaro's, Señora Beatriz had told her when she'd asked about it. And what's it doing here? I don't even remember. The priest in my town would have sold his soul for a cassock of such quality. Encarni, Señora Beatriz pretended to be scandalized. Well, if you like, we'll send it to him. That's expensive. Forget about it. She'd responded evasively instead of telling her that she still remembered with shame how the priest of her town, El Padul in Granada, had called her a bitch in heat, pointing at her during a sermon in church, because he had seen her kissing her boyfriend the previous afternoon. If it weren't a cassock and made of such good fabric, she would have used it to make dust rags. Encarni knew about clothes. She and her sister used to study the display windows on the Paseo de Gracia on Sunday afternoons. They ripped out one of her eyes, and it was rolling around on the floor. Encarni bent and picked up an orange that had fallen and rolled along the kitchen tiles. She placed it in the fruit bowl. Her eye was rolling on the floor? That's what they told me in the greengrocer's, and while she did, nothing to it, she slipped me an overripe apple. She produced the apple and put it on the table in front of the missus. It seemed that the apple was about to begin rolling too, but Encarni stopped it with her hand and placed it firmly beside the coffee cup. Look, all 4 of them are perfect, she said. Let me see, I said to the produce lady, because last time there was one that was overripe.